Welcome back to another episode of Vulnerability Time. I am your host, Josiah Avro, published author, all the good stuff. Okay, yes, y'all wanted her. She's back for the All Star season. Oh my God, yes, we got Tiff back. Tiff, hey, what's up, Tiff?
Hey, how's it going? Hey,
Uh,
everybody. Thanks for asking for me to come back.
yes, two things. Okay, so I got a new webcam, folks. I'm not a fan of it because I'm having lighting issues and the quality is not what advertised, but it is better than the laptop webcam. That's all right, whatever. Excuse the line. Okay, also check out these new headphones, y'all. It's Tron Legacy themed, I think, because like it lights up. Um, but I am feeling very childish today. So you know what? We're gonna go ahead and start this off like a 70s music show. I'm just gonna be childish really quick. Right now, before we start, I do have a commercial break. If you have a structured settlement and you need cash now, call JG Wentworth 877 cash now. Yes, yes. Brought to you by Progressive. You could save 15% or more on car insurance. All right, hit it. Okay, here we go. All right, we're ready to start. We are ready to start. Tiff, oh my God. So, what are we talking about today?
So, today, I think that we're going to be talking about the journey to becoming your best self.
Hmm. Yes, yes, yes.
It has
So,
been,
mhm, it's definitely been a time for you and us both. We've definitely been, being hit by life. And Tiff, how does, the journey to becoming your best self, um, how does that apply to, what's been going on in your life recently?
well, I think I chose the topic because it applies directly to my life. In the most recent months and years, even, I feel as if I've been called to go on this journey of self to become the
Mm,
most authentic version of myself, right? Because one of my goals is to truly reach enlightenment, right, in this lifetime. And I'm slowly realizing that to do that, you have to be the best version of
of
yourself,
yourself.
right? And it does take you on a journey. It takes you through ups and downs, but it takes you inside of yourself to find out who you really are and what you are truly made of, right? And one of my favorite quotes about what you're truly made of, and I've probably said this before, but it's the same water that hardens the egg that softens the potato, right? It's not about, you know, it's not about the environment. It's the same boiling water, it's the same temperature. It's about what you're made of that makes you or breaks you. So I think that I've been on that journey recently of finding out what I'm really made of.
Tiff, same here. Literally, same here. That is one of the things, after honestly tapping into my near death experience that I had when I was 15 and just me becoming completely honest with it and not just saying the half truth, you know, um, and it's so funny how recently, and this gonna tie into what you're about to say or to what you just said into a question that I want to ask you, because I'm dying to hear. Um, is that my near death experience not only just involved, and it actually happened in this room when I attempted to commit suicide when I was 15. Um, yes, I did get to meet Jesus. He's real. However, other higher powers are also real. He told me that hell does not exist, and I was like, the universe. that is real. You know what I mean? That has a lot of energies, vibration. That's real. You know, a lot of stuff that there's a lot of truth in this world that has just been separated into different religions,
Right.
unfortunately. However, there is also a lot of lies in this world. However, um, it is connecting to your higher self. This is the thing. One of the main points to come in when we choose to come into this earth, we're here to learn and to experience. There's nothing that's innately good or bad in the sense that we see it. Um, there are certain things that are, yes, supposed to happen. Um, we are wanting to experience that because there are certain hardships that we experience that what we learned from that hardship, we wouldn't have been able to learn it exactly how we were supposed to learn it had the hardship been a little harder or a little softer. Um, and also we're looking for this entity of God and this entity of love and higher self. I mean, higher self and higher power. We're looking at it outside of ourselves when really we are to look in to ourselves because it is the higher power. Some people call it God. Some people call it Jesus. You know, they're two different things, by the way. Both loving, both amazing. Jesus is technically still a God because he's an extended master. But the universe, that's real. You know what I mean? We're it's within inside of us. It's when even Christian text when it talks about the kingdom, it's not talking about something outside of ourselves. It's talking about within ourselves. All these great prophets from multiple religions, Buddha, Muhammad, you know what I mean? Jesus, their enlightenment, even let's see, Prophet Isaiah, Paul, Matthew, you know, enlightenment. It starts within ourselves. You know what I mean? Because what is internal, um, we project that. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of self-actualization. You know, majority of humans do not reach self-actualization, hashtag enlightenment. Many humans do not reach that. It is a hard journey to get to. It is a scary journey because you're going to be enlightened to things that you are taught, hey, that's not real when, yeah, it's really real. We get it from somewhere. So the point of what I'm trying to say is my near death experience and all the things that I rejected about it became relevant now in my life. Me also communicating with other people who have experienced near death experience and they're saying the same thing gave me the confidence
Mm,
to believe what was the information that was already told to me by when I had that encounter with Jesus. You know what I mean? No, someone doesn't have to be Christian to enjoy an afterlife. That's not how that works. That there are certain lies put in. And if people do history on the Bible, um, it's certain lies put in there to manipulate, saying someone's going to go to hell if this or that. It's a great um, fear tactic is a great way to manipulate and control. The point of what I'm trying to say, though,
right.
is exactly the point of what I'm trying to say, though, is my life took a complete turn and it hurt like hell. I mean, I'm ready to throw hands with the spirit guides, with the universe, with the higher entities, with Holy Spirit, with Buddha, with Jesus, all these higher beings that want the best for us. I'm wanting to throw hands with them, however, all that what I'm experiencing and I'm glad I'm able to see it now because I'm still experiencing it. Um, I am reaching just aspects of enlightenment that I never ever thought I would reach. And I already thought I was, pretty enlightened and still
Hmm.
growing on the path of enlightenment, but they took it from a 2 to a 10 real quick. And my near death experience, I wasn't meant to believe certain things just yet because If I believed it then, one, I wouldn't have received it the right way, or I wouldn't have received it at all. But now I receive it, it now becomes relevant. That just shows me that that hardship that caused me to have that near death experience, committing suicide, you know, that was one of the triggers to my enlightenment now.
Right.
That past became um relevant now in the present. Um so what I was getting at is how hardship, and I mean complete 180s, just complete hardship, how that can bring about enlightenment that you never would have thought. Because who knew that I thought that what happened 11 years ago um, was going to help enlighten me like it did today. And it's hard because enlightenment is not, it's not an easy process at first. You know what I mean? There's its pros and cons, but it takes a long time for us to begin to really enjoy those pros. So, Tiff, there was something that does that make sense, Tiff?
Oh, yes, of course. It does. It completely makes sense. I mean, if you study the Buddha and you actually know his story, because a lot of people see him as the master of enlightenment because he found true enlightenment. But if you actually read into the story of Buddha, you will see that his path was full of suffering. He was actually in a royal place and he left it to go find enlightenment. He put himself into a place where he could suffer so he could understand what the price of enlightenment was. And also like to describe like enlightenment as knowing how much you do not know. So even talking about that inner self, as you were saying, it makes so much sense, because the person that says, I know it all knows nothing. And the person who says, I have so much to learn knows everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
So 100%, you make complete sense. I mean, you're right on it. You hit the nail on the head. And even when you were talking about your struggles and your story, firstly, I just want to congratulate you and just appreciate you for sharing because you're always so vulnerable. I know this is vulnerability time, but that is something that is hard for many people to do. And I just want to send praise to you because, as you said, this was the test, and now you're in your testimony. You're standing in the room, healing people in a room where once you tried to commit suicide. And that's
Yes.
just right there so powerful.
Oh my
And
God.
it is just giving me chills as you were talking about it. So I just want to send love to you because this is part of your true purpose.
Oh, I didn't even realize that until you said it. You know what? And this is the thing. I'm about to cry. Um, Tiff, I received that, and I'm gonna choose to believe that. I
Please do.
received that, and I'm gonna choose to believe it because it is true. That is true, and I know it's kind of stigmatized to
Right,
give ourselves applause in society. Now, if we tell ourselves, "Oh, I'm nothing, I'm ugly," people are gonna be
right,
like, "No, no, you're not." But once we talk to ourselves how we would talk to others,
right,
once we uplift ourselves how we would uplift others, people kind of get, you know, oh, that's kind of
right,
arrogant. When really, there's a difference. Confidence is rooted in security,
right,
and strength from a journey. Arrogance is rooted in insecurity. Arrogance can the lines can get kind of blurred.
right,
Arrogance can look like confidence, but it's also putting down others. Oh,
right,
I'm this and you're nothing. That's arrogance, and that's rooted in insecurity because people are always trying to have to prove, um, and project their insecurities onto others. So therefore, they make other people feel insecure. So just want to
right.
clear that up for folks listening because I used to be
Hmm.
that. I used to think that I used to not know the difference between confidence and arrogance.
Right,
But now, part of the enlightenment journey, it's I'm gonna because sometimes I don't hear applause,
right,
and so I gotta applaud myself. You know what I mean? That's not saying that people are purposely not applauding. It's just that people can oftentimes think that they don't have to tell you because they think you already know it because you come off
Right.
as that because you just are that. You just are amazing. It's just so
Right.
natural. It just flows, Tiff. You know, so yes, I'm gonna throw that back at you as well, Tiff. You always encourage me, and I really needed that right now. A lot of people don't know. How about this? I'll just say this that I really needed to hear that. And going back to the Enlightenment, um, folks, I have been on the other side. Okay, I have been on the other side, and when I tell you enlightenment. Oh, we will be so glad that we got enlightened on Earth because it is so much more relevant and amazing after this. Everyone who chooses to come to Earth already gets an honor because
Right.
Earth is one of the hardest realms. Um, you know, um, Earth is one of the hardest realms, um, and we come here to learn. But for the few folks like Maslow's hierarchy, is that who, right? That's who it is, right?
I believe so.
Self-actualization. Let me message my good friend Google, um and let's find out because I want to make sure. I don't know how to spell actualization, but Google does. um Maslow's, that's right, I know my husband Maslow's hierarchy. Yes, so many people don't reach that. It's hard to reach that. It has so much pros with it. It also has a lot of cons, and unfortunately, also, in a sense, fortunately, the cons are necessary to get to the pros when it comes to enlightenment. Um, you will, something that I also learned when enlightenment, Tiff, is that um, the more that I know, the more that I know that I don't
Exactly.
know. You know, just when I thought I had a good grip and knew a good enough amount, nope. Nope. Now I know,
Mm.
and now I'm able to see. Okay, now I don't know
Right.
everything, and it's going to continue to learn. And I personally want to continue to learn. Tiff, and this is what brings me to what I wanted to ask you, but I just wanted to give the folks context
Right.
a
For
little
sure.
bit. Um, to help make this question make more sense because not everyone can understand it right now. Everyone's in a different part of their journey, whatever that journey is. So
Right.
I wanted to give that more context. Notice I said not understand it right now because I don't want to make it seem like someone can ever understand it. And there might be people that will never, understand, but there might be people that are listening right now that are going to understand in what 30 years from now. Oh, it's coming. They're going to understand. But yeah, you mentioned one of the
Hmm.
most wisest quotes that I don't fully understand, but I truly believe that my higher self that is living within inside of me does understand. Um, because that's kind of also how it works when you're on the other side is when you're a human being, you may not understand why you went through something. You may not understand it. You may not see what benefit that even brought. Um, But that's the thing, not everything is for the human to understand, it's for our higher self. Our higher self is taking in and processing different information than what a human experience can comprehend. So it's just like, oh yeah, everything is working for us. It just don't feel like that, and it's not supposed to feel like that all the time. Um, I'm like, well, right, well, okay then. But Tiff, you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I think I'm going to say this wrong, but I just know that I
Okay.
took in the information. Um, you said when a student is suffering, the master is. You know what I'm about to say.
I
Go ahead
got
and
you.
say what you said.
I can help you. Okay. So it's a quote, not sure who is by or who is credited to, but it says that when the student is ready, the master appears. But when the student is truly ready, the master disappears. So that's one of those things that I try to rely on and remember, especially in times of hardship, or when things aren't necessarily going my way, and I can't find that external voice, quote unquote, when I'm looking for a higher source, and I hear nothing. Because I think a lot of people go through times like that where it feels like it's nothing coming, from higher self or from God or from source or from the universe, and we can't find help. It's like I'm calling out and there's no response. But when the student is ready, the master will appear. But when you are truly ready, you may not hear something. You may not hear those voices because you have it. You just don't know that you have it. You just don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You just don't know that tomorrow is going to be the day that everything works out. You don't know that tomorrow is the opportunity of a lifetime you've been waiting for. You don't know that you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to figure it out on your own, not knowing that you didn't need that assurance all along. You had it all inside the entire time. And I think life is like that oftentimes, is where you just have to walk the path. It's just like exercise, working out. You want to get to a certain goal. People can do it with you, but no one can do it for you. And I think
That's right.
sometimes, right, I think sometimes we rely too much on our higher guides for advice or for guidance, and sometimes it becomes a crutch. So I think a lot of times they will silence themselves, they will disappear because you are more ready than you know?
Hmm. And like you said, walk with. They can't walk for.
Right.
So it's just like, oh wow, yes. And so we're like you said, when it becomes a crutch, they can kind of back
They can
off a little
disappear.
bit. They still watching you. They still watching you.
Right. They're still right there with
Yeah,
you, just as a friend
yeah.
would be. I can run the mile with you, Josias, but I can't run your mile for you, right?
Right.
So it's that kind of thing. And I think oftentimes when we don't hear that voice or we don't feel like there's any guidance, sometimes I think it is an opportunity to show yourself that you can do it and to show yourself that you do have it in you, you know, that you are the
Right.
things that you say you are, that you believe you are, right? Because we talk about manifestation, we talk about speaking things into reality. And oftentimes I think that we forget what we say when we're going through struggles. They're like, oh, I'm a millionaire. We say it all the time in the mirror every day. We hold ourselves this way. But as soon as something happens, it all comes crashing down. And then you're like, help me, help me, help me. And it's like, well, no, you said you were a millionaire. This is your chance to prove it. Are you still going to do the things that a millionaire would do? Are you still going to read the book every day that you promised to read? Are you still going to work out every day that you promised to work out? Are you still going to hold yourself to that standard? Are you going to revert back into a place of subservience to a higher source? Your higher self, the universe, God, your guides, whoever, don't want you to be subservient to them. I know that's a misconception in a lot of spiritual texts.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
misconception. It's not to be subservient, right? It's to find that level of divinity in yourself and to bring it out, you know? So
Right.
it's very interesting how sometimes we do in these times of hurt. And another thing I was thinking about when you were talking about going through that period of hardship is a quote I heard recently. Y'all know I'm the
Still
quote
going
person.
through it.
Right. And hey, that's how it goes. It's a tide, it is a roller coaster. I talk of enlightenment as a roller coaster because you are going to throw up the entire time. But have you ever, okay, I hate throwing up. That is my thing. I hate it.
Oh,
I
me
hate the way it
too. I can't breathe
feels.
when I throw
I
up.
can't breathe, exactly. I hate it. But when you throw up and you get it out of your system, don't you feel better? Don't you feel lighter? Don't you feel
Mhm.
free?
Right.
You're a little little shaky, but you feel much
Right.
better than you did when that thing was inside of you. And I
Hmm.
feel like spirituality is a continual coaster where all you're doing is purging the things you no longer need. You know, you're taking loops and spins and everything, and you're just throwing up. But it's worse if you stop and try to get off the ride. You have to let your body expel those toxins. You have to let your body, your spirit, get rid of these things that you've picked up along the way.
Right. Because
So,
if we keep it in, like toxins and vomit and urine and feces. If we keep it in, it's going to do way much more damage. Staying, oh, way much more. It can kill us.
Way more, way more. It's gonna spiritually, exactly, spiritually kill you and break you down slowly and slowly until you feel like you're at rock bottom. You know.
Mhm.
But one thing about like hardships, is this new quote I've heard recently. Y'all know I'm the quote person, so it said that you will rise from the ashes, but first you must endure the burning.
Yes, like a phoenix.
Like a
Like a
phoenix.
phoenix.
We admire the phoenix because it's the bird that can rise from the ashes. But we forget about the
Yes.
burning. We forget about the
Mhm.
fact that we have to walk through the fire, that we have to go through something to understand the other side. If we don't go through things, we won't appreciate when the good things come, you know? Like I've heard someone say, my higher self is so wise that
Yes.
it sends me to the lowest of lows so I can appreciate the highest of highs.
Yes,
You know?
exactly. Oh, that is something that I have come to I found out like months ago. By months ago, I mean probably like 3 months ago. Um, my higher self, gave me that explanation. And then I remember I was like, higher self, I'm gonna throw hands with you. But I know you believe in me. I know because it does sound like something I would do. That sounds even something my human would do.
Right.
I would, uh go through something. Like it sounds like something I would do. I would willingly
Mm,
go through something because I know that it's going to be better for me. For example,
right.
like I love it when people that I know who care about me when they hold me accountable for something that I
Right.
did wrong.
Right.
That's going to hurt. Like I open up to them and I tell them this is what I did and I know that they're going to hold me accountable. Sometimes they're stern, but they know how to talk to me. They know how I'm going to,
Right.
receive. They know that majority of the time I'm the type of person that receives the soft. Like you can sugarcoat something and I will get it. And then there
Mhm.
are those few times where the sternness is necessary. So because they know me, they know how to talk to me. They know how I learn. Like the other day, I was held accountable. I had opened up to one of my best friends about something, and he held me accountable. You know, and I knew that it wasn't going to feel good. I knew accountability wasn't going to feel good. I knew me telling him, I knew he was going to hold me accountable because he loves me. I knew it. Um, when he did hold me accountable, it hurt, and I knew that it would hurt, but I knew that it would be necessary. I knew that it had to happen in order for me to make the changes necessary, in order for me to grow. I knew that growth was going to hurt. I knew it, and so I still went through it. I still went through it, and I knew it was going to hurt, but I knew that the benefit um, I wouldn't have learned any other way.
Right.
So it doesn't surprise me that my higher self would do this to me, would throw me in so many fires or
Right.
allow so many, ashes and fires,
Right.
because it knows certain things that I don't know.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that we're not supposed to know that because if I knew that the man of my dreams would come in my life a year from now,
Right.
oh, I wouldn't be stressing. I'd just be waiting. But
Waiting.
there, exactly. But there would be so much lessons that I wouldn't learn,
Hmm.
you know, along the way. I just wouldn't learn certain lessons because I wouldn't need to have pain in order to, you know, I just wouldn't need pain. Who knows? Maybe I wouldn't appreciate it. Like you said, Tiff, we know the highest of highs because we know the lowest of lows. That's what's called the law of polarity.
Right.
Something that I've eventually come to appreciate the creator, aka God, who's literally an entity of love. The only reason why he's called Father God is to give it an embodiment to help humans best understand. But it's an entity, it's a they them, it's an entity. Um, God is love. Even Christian texts also state that, but it also gives it an embodiment just for humans to help better grasp. But yes, I do appreciate it having just such a wise just love that it put the law of polarity in place that we know up because we only know down. We know
Right.
east only because there's a west.
Right.
If there was no west, we wouldn't need an east. We would just need north south. We know south pole because there's a north pole. You know what I mean? Like we know that it's gonna be like we know there's an up only because we know there's a down.
Right.
That's the only way we know that literally, like, just I'm not even talking about like painful experiences. I mean, literally, I'm looking at the ground and I'm recognizing that it is a ground only because there
Because
is
it's
an
a up.
up. Now,
Right.
yeah, if humans didn't have up, we would just always be looking at the ground. We would, there's no up. Like, if that's how, like, I don't know, if there was no sky, no up, if gravity worked a different way, there would just be ground. But because, and we wouldn't recognize it as that, it would just be an it. It
Right.
just because it is innately just is. But because we can look up at the sky, we can look, oh, what is that? That means something below me is different. So,
Right.
long story short, the law of polarity is literally what you just said. Because the law of polarity, it's a very broad law, but
Right.
it, yeah, but like you said, the highest of highs because we know the lowest of lows. The extent that I l- hope for something is the extent that I can hurt for something. The extent that I love for, love someone is the extent that I hurt when they leave my life or I leave their life.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I didn't love them or care about them, it would not hurt. It would have just as much effect on me as it did if they were there than if they left. But because you know, there was a different experience, a deeper experience, a higher experience. I now experience a lower experience and vice versa. So,
Right.
yeah.
It
So,
goes hand in hand. Like it goes all the way back to yin and yang.
mm,
There is no yin without yang. There is no
yes.
good without evil. It's also the law of duality for
Oh,
it
yeah.
to
Let's write that
exist.
down. That's
Yes,
what I
the
was trying
law
to
of
remember.
duality. It has the one has to exist for the other to exist. To as
Right.
above, so below, as within is without. Like you said, if there's no
Yes.
ground below my feet, then there's no sky above my head, right?
Right.
If there's no rich, there's no poor. If there's no hunger, there's no full. It all goes together. They cannot
Exactly.
exist without each other.
They
So,
can't.
I also learned recently about this saying, you can only a tree can well in science, a tree can only grow as high as deep as its roots.
Right.
And we are the same. If we don't ground ourselves deeply into the ground, we will be limited to how big we can grow. And that's with any species alive. If
That
you
is
take
true.
Right, and that's why you see when you go to aquariums, you'll see sharks that are only a couple feet big, and it's because of the size of the container. But out in the
Exactly.
wild, they grow humongously, right? So it's the same thing with
Right.
ourselves. So environment always plays a role. And I think sometimes when we can't change our physical environment, we have to work to change our spiritual environment,
Yes.
you
Oh,
know,
that's me right
because
now.
we are the
Yeah.
soul. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about too in regard to higher self. I am realizing I've been reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It's a great spiritual book. I don't know if you ever read it.
I don't
But
think I need
I
to.
do. I just got back into it. So I do recommend it to everybody listening. It's a great book. Um, there's a part he says about the power of now. So it's talking about the present moment, right? Nothing exists but this moment. There's really
Right.
no past. There's really no future. It is only this moment that exists. And because of
Right.
that, we think of being or self, higher self, as something in the future to reach. We think of enlightenment as something to reach in the future. We think of
Hmm.
our highest self being above us.
Hmm.
However, if
Right.
there's only now, right, if there's only now, and there's always only been now, that means, and I came to this conclusion, that means that we were born on this earth as our highest self,
Yes, exactly. That's
as the
Yeah.
highest version of ourselves. It's just
Yeah.
dormant inside of us. And I think that's why we have to
Right.
go through these experiences to open that up more of us. You know, I know we've all been through
Right.
little things in life that have changed us, good ways, bad ways, whatever, but it's opened up more of us. It's unleashed something inside of us deep that it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, hold on. I can't even I can't even explain with words what's happened, but I feel
Yes.
better because of it. I feel more of myself because of it. That's why there's certain
Yes.
things that we are attracted to, like
Right.
certain hobbies or certain sports or even new
Right.
things as we grow older. You're like, why do I want to do that so bad? I don't
Right. Oh my God.
know.
Yes. Shut up. Yes. That's
Yeah.
why I have this podcast now. I
Right.
would have never thought this 10 years ago.
Right. And it's like it just keeps coming back to me. It keeps attracting me. It keeps something about it won't let me go. It won't turn me loose. It's
Yes.
because that is an embodiment of your higher self pushing you into that space, saying, this is you. You are these things. So I have
Right.
to push you into them. You know, you are
Yes.
always your
Yes.
highest self. You are always the most wise version of yourself, the most kind, the most spiritual,
Yes.
the most developed version of yourself. There's
Yes.
nothing
Already
that you
there.
lack.
Right. Right.
There
Right.
is nothing that you lack. Everything's
Mm-hmm.
already in you. And if you have the belief that we've come here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are the spirit, not the body, then
Exactly. This is just a human meat suit.
this
This is
just a
just a
meat
meat suit.
suit. Start made out of
Energy is not
stardust.
created or dies. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
It can't be, it's not created nor destroyed. So,
Right.
with the knowings of all those facts, we have to think about the version of ourselves that we like, oh, that's the greatest version of me. It is you today as you sit here and listen to in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
You are that version of you are the version of yourself that wakes up at 5 a.m. and goes on runs. You just haven't unlocked it
Mm-hmm.
in this
Right.
physical realm yet.
Hmm.
Right?
Tiff,
You are the poet.
have you died before?
You know,
Because you're saying
I
exactly how near death experience, you're saying exactly how the people I've talked to that experience the same thing I experienced. You're saying
mm,
literally exactly. It's like you for real know. And I'm not just saying that.
right. Well, I can say this. I have had experiences, but they were not in the way that people describe. Like I didn't have a moment where I went in back into the universe and saw this. It was nothing like that. But I
Hmm.
can say that I know that I've come back. I remember
Yes, because yep. Hmm.
I remember coming back. I remember choosing to come back. I remember there
Tiff, so you
being,
knew what I was saying earlier.
I already knew because I remember there was an essence of I wasn't supposed to. And
Hmm.
I forced my way back. It was almost
Yes,
as
because you
they
can.
forbade me to come back, yet I felt I had to.
That's right.
So in a lot of ways, I feel like one, this is the lifetime that I reach enlightenment. Two, I feel as if this is the lifetime where I not per se fulfill my destiny because I feel like I've done that in previous lifetimes, but I think that this
Yes.
one is special. That I'm back for a reason, and at this point in my life, I feel as if that reason is to spread love.
That's exact. Shut the fuck up. That's exactly what I was about to say. Exact. Tiff, shut the
Oh
fuck up. That's
goodness.
exactly when we've already, because we care enough to help other people reach that enlightenment.
Right,
So no one is forced to come to Earth.
right,
No one is forced. Everyone it can stay has everyone has the free will.
right, right,
However, when we're not necessarily needing to come back to Earth,
right,
like you said, kind of like they're like, you don't need to come here. Don't go there. But we're
right.
just like, look at where I'm at now in my enlightenment. I want to help other people get there.
I
And
have
they're like,
to.
okay. Because it's so great, apparently. It's so great that we just want others to experience. And that is very valid. Being someone who has died before, folks, I'm telling you, folks like died. I'm telling you that this is true. And when we come to this earth, many of us, it is a part of our journey to forget where we came from. We're leaving all of that to come here. Now, I can tell you, like Tiff said, we are still our higher selves. when you die, you you become more expanded and just your true self becomes a reality again. It's already there within you. Like Tiff said, you have to unlock it on this human. You know, on purpose, we're supposed to forget the extraordinary unconditional love. We're supposed to forget that, because there are certain things only the human experience can learn and obtain. And for that to be done, we have to forget a lot of things. Not everyone forgets. People relearn it, or people just go their whole life forgetting it. You know, that's part of the blueprint. That's part of what they chose to come here. They're like, okay, I want to forget this. I want to forget that. Some people, they come here and they remember their past lives. Some people say, I know I was a woman in my past life. Like, I remember,
Hmm.
I saw it. You know, that's not saying that they want to be a woman now. It's just saying that they remember that. That is a part of, everything um is happening for us. When you die, that's when you fully get to, when you leave this human vessel, this meat suit, um, you fully get, you just, that's when everything's unlocked. Everything's unlocked. And like you said, Tiff, I'm someone who has died. I'm telling you, that is true. Now, not everyone will believe that. People will reject that. That's because they're supposed to. It's
Right.
not their time to unlock
Right.
it. So, folks, if you're not believing this, if you're rejecting this, if you're saying, "Oh, that's not true," because I never been taught that, that's okay. You're not supposed to um accept it right now. I wouldn't accept that years ago. I would
Right.
not. I would not accept that even after I had my even after I died, I wasn't ready to accept it. It became necessary now to help me continue, because if any other time in my life that I wanted to end my life is now. It isn't. It is during this season of enlightenment. But because everything that happened then that I didn't think was relevant, I didn't think I needed to, accept, now I accept it, and now that is what's helping me continue. It's just helping me, continue. I would not be here without it. It became relevant now. So I'm just saying, folks, it is real. It is it all of that she literally just said. It is real. Um, Earth is the quickest, fastest place to learn and to grow, um, and to reach certain goals. If you go to other planets and other quote unquote realms, because Earth is technically a realm, you know, mental health doesn't exist everywhere. Children dying, that does not exist everywhere. People, people or beings in other places last or live thousands of years, and they don't
Hmm.
experience trauma like we do here. Everything here is quick. On these other places, it's slower. You know what I mean? Yes, it's phenomenal. It's a great place to rest, relax. Some people, they're still, they still choose to go back to those places.
Hmm.
And that's nothing wrong with that. But there are those of us who want to advance quicker, and that's one of the main purposes to um, when our higher selves choose to experience Earth, is for spiritual advancement, and to experience, but all of that makes up spiritual advancement. For example, I'm about to shut up, I swear. There are many spiritual advancement tools on this earth. Religion is a spiritual advancement tool. Breakups, a spiritual advancement tool. Someone dying that you really love, that's a spiritual advancement tool. Um, it's fun. It's fun fact because we're supposed to take death hardly on here. We are on this human experience. We don't come here to not hurt. Um, there's the thing. There's a lot of our entity, our true identity, our true self. How about that? We don't. It's really hard to learn when you're in perfection. It's called perfect privilege. You know what I mean? You're not experiencing any pain. You're not really learning anything. You're just living and enjoying, and that is great. However, when we want to learn, when we want to experience, I think that's one of the greatest blessings that the Creator has given us is free will. We can go to other places and live and experience. We can go here to live and experience. Do I think I will come back? I don't think I'll come back. I don't think I'll come back here, but I don't know what my higher self is gonna be after this, you know. But we learn. We learn. That is one of the main reasons we come here. There are certain things that only we can experience in the earth realm that we can't experience other places. You know, earth has the most and the quickest learning and because of pain. So a lot of things and realities that we see here, it's horrible, but it was supposed to happen. However, our human experience, we're supposed to look at that and say, that's awful that that happened. Lock them up. Lock them up. But after this, we'll see that we wanted that in our blueprint. But when we come to earth, we are accepting the realities of judgment, of and by judgment, I mean like being criticized from others for being different. We are accepting that reality. We're accepting the reality of everything that I know now as my higher, as my true self in this perfect realm that I'm in, where there's no pain. Everything that I'm, I'm, I'm choosing to come to Earth and forget all of that. And so our reality here does become valid. Yes, on Earth realm, yes, what this person did to me is horrible, and I'm supposed to think that on this Earth realm. It's not going to be the same after this. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. So, but yes, our reality on Earth, our experiences are valid. It is valid, just as valid as the other one. It's just that Um, this is our little, I don't want to say simulation, but like, I think that's like the closest word that humans can do, simulation. So,
Right. This is the dream.
yeah.
This is the
Yeah, sometimes
dream.
I'm like, you can wake up anytime now, but
Right. Right.
I
This
know,
is the dream.
right?
You know?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah, the dreams are the reality, but it's you're 100% on. You're dead on. I mean,
It's,
I would
oh, what I just
encourage
said was on?
talking
Are you
about,
saying what
yes,
I just
everything
said?
you were saying.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes, everything you were saying, you're dead on. I
Yes,
would
nice.
encourage, I know, right? I would encourage everyone to, if you're ready, to look at the ancient laws of Sanskrit, the 10 Sanskrit laws, because it explains this whole process. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's 10 laws. The first one is you will receive a body. One of the other ones is you will learn lessons, right? It's so many things. So I would look into that, and
Yes.
it'll explain everything on a way that will make you think about what we just said, especially if you're new to this concept of
Right.
you being a soul rather than a body. If you've never experienced that,
Right.
I would look into that. So it's just a little spreadsheet, little quick
Yes.
1 through 10, that really breaks that down, and
Yes.
it'll make you look at your life differently.
Yes. And
Yes,
for the better. For the better.
and
Because
for the
that's the
better.
thing. Like I just said, there's a lot of truth that has been given to us.
Right.
So much. Um, it has just been unfortunately, but I guess it's supposed to be, I don't want to say taken away, but like hidden,
It's been hidden.
um,
Yeah.
gaslit to be like, that's not true, but um our higher the higher powers, they know, they're all rooting for us, by the way, folks. They are all rooting for us. It's phenomenal. They are extremely loving. I can't even explain. I cannot even explain. I go speechless trying to explain what I experienced when I got to die.
Hmm.
um but there is so much truth here, and this is what I want to because they know earth realm is hard. This is the place where they sent Lucifer to stay on. This is the place. Lucifer used to be an extended master, just like Jesus, and there's other extended masters that go to other planets. um but we got Jesus here. But Lucifer used to be an extended master. He we all know, well, not everyone else, I don't want to get into this whole story, but he got sentenced to earth. However, um the higher power noticed that God did not kill Lucifer. He didn't wipe him from existence. He sent him to earth and he still made him have a purpose. And that purpose is now earth is a place that other entities like ourselves can come and learn because of the pain that Lucifer's causing and his goons are causing. So it's like hey, that purpose it still works for our good in a sense. We'll see that when we are after this earth. But this is something that I want to encourage people and say is that just because we don't believe something doesn't mean it's not true. Just
Right.
because we don't believe something doesn't make it not true. Just because religion has been taught, oh, reincarnation's not real, that doesn't mean that that's true. I mean, that doesn't mean that that's not true because reincarnation is real. It is real. Incarnate is real. That's how humans just call it birth, but it's still incarnate. Incarnate.
Right.
That's
I mean, it's the
reincarnation
life
is when we get
cycle.
to
And
exactly. So it's like
yeah,
it's real. We just call it different words, like the word incarnate that scares people because it sounds like reincarnate. But yeah, like
right. There are clues everywhere if you look. I mean, just
everywhere.
something as simple as the birth cycle. A cycle
Yes.
continues. It's a loop.
Yeah.
So does life really end at death? It's a
Right.
loop, right? Every other species on this planet does it. The raindrops in
Exactly.
the sky start from the ground and go up and come back down and over and over. The plants
Right.
come alive, the seed is planted, it dies, the fruit
Hmm.
dies, the seed is replanted, and it starts over. So are we not
Right.
the same? You know, there are
Exactly.
clues in everything when it comes to
Yes.
quote unquote the truth. Um,
Yes.
you find it in the music. You find it like you were saying. These are tools. Music is a tool. Universe. The word universe. Uni meaning
Right.
one, verse meaning song. It's all one song that we're continuously
Exactly.
playing. So it's so many
Exactly.
clues in the things. I mean, sometimes I just sit around and think about words. Sometimes I look at a word and I'll
Yes.
just break it down and say, what does that really mean? And it'll give you
Yeah.
so many clues about what's really going on here, what we're really
Hmm.
being said, or what's really being led, or what we're being shown to believe. And there's so many clues once you begin to look for them. They're
Right.
in the books that we don't want to read. They're on the podcasts
Yes.
like these that people try not to pay attention to. They're in the
Yes. Yes. There.
songs.
Yep.
you
Yep.
know
I have those.
right, they're in the
Yeah.
songs that aren't on the radio. They're in
Hmm.
the places we don't want to go, but
Yes.
that's how you that's how they hid the truth
Exactly.
from us,
A
you know
lot of growth. Exactly. It's in the denial. It's in exactly. It's in the denial. It's in what, like you said, the books that we don't want to read because it
right,
challenges our biases or our quote unquote securities.
right, right,
Um,
right,
yes.
right, because that's what we've
Yes.
been taught, and we have to realize we have been indoctrined rather than informed. And
Ooh, shut the fuck up. Let me put that down.
oh goodness, we
Can
have,
you
I
say that
mean,
again?
we have been
Say that again.
indoctrined rather
Have
than
been
have been informed.
doctrined. Doctrine rather than have been informed.
Right, so we have to
Shit.
relearn everything that we
Wow, I need
were
to do that.
taught, because it's not true, and it's
Exactly.
it's not really what, and really none of us know what we're doing here when we really
Right, right.
think about
Because
it.
a lot of us are meant to forget. That's right.
Right, and
That's right.
the truth is there are people on this planet that do know. You'll
Right.
never see
A
them, you'll
few.
probably never meet them.
A few.
However, there are
Yeah,
some that are, because again, yin and yang, there's good where there's evil, and there's evil where there is good. They have to
hmm
exist together. There are
they
people on
have
this
to.
earth that know what they're doing and know they want us to forget and to remain in a state of forgetting.
Hmm
However, we have to wake up and we have to teach the
Right,
people coming after us what we learned late. We have to teach them early.
right.
So that way
Yeah,
we advance as a civilization and as a people on this planet.
right.
Because if
Exact.
not,
Mhm.
we're never going to advance. And I think that's the reason so many of us chosen have come back to help advance the
Yes.
planet.
Ooh, exactly because the higher beings, they're not oblivious to how hard Earth is. Because most no other place is as hard as Earth. No other realm. So Tiff, you better preach. You know what I want you to come on the podcast and talk about?
What?
What happened to my camera? Oh, okay. I was like, what happened to my camera? Is generational curses.
Yeah, we can do that.
Hmm.
We can do that. I
Yeah,
mean,
Have you ever two other things? Earth is also like a big story in a sense. Like Earth has been started over many times, many
right,
times.
right,
The flood, for example, many religions believe in the big flood. You know, a lot of people in Christian texts, Noah's Ark thingy. Earth has been started over
right.
many of times. You know, we've our essence, our beings have been living for a long time. Um, but another thing is, have you ever? I'm talking to not just you, Tiff, but to myself again, and to folks listening. Have you ever just seen someone and they just have it? They just have the light, or it just comes so easy that they are able to just get that high-paying job and make all this, and it's just seems so destined. It's just like nothing can stop them. It just flows so easy for them. For example, like for me, like me writing poetry and me thinking of certain wise statements, it just flows so naturally. Have you ever just noticed that, folks? That's for a reason. That's part of the blueprint.
It is
Tiff,
your
say
highest
something.
self. He's like, say
I was
something.
like, say something. I was
It
like, that
is.
was like,
I feel as if that is. I feel like these are the keys to yourself. They
yeah.
are the keys that open the door to unlock the many chambers and the many facets of who you are. They are, like you said, keys. They are hints, clues, even to
Mhm.
what you are supposed to be doing in this
Supposed to be
realm,
doing.
right? During this lifetime, right? So I
Exactly.
mean, that's the things I try to lean upon are the things that come the most natural, right? Because there are going to be other things that are going to be harder for you to learn and harder for you to do that you're going to learn while you're here. But the things that come the easiest are usually your talents, your gifts to give upon the world, to help share
Mhm.
and spread what your mission is, right? If you're
Right,
here to spread
exactly.
love, then use
Exactly.
those things to spread love. If you're here
Right.
to teach, some people have come here to be master teachers, right? You were speaking of
Yep.
ascended masters.
Yep.
Jesus was an ascended master. He went around teaching the
Yes.
people, you know,
Yes. He
Buddha
showed
as
a lot
well.
through action. Yes.
Right.
Oh,
Like these were
yes.
ascended masters. If you look at Rumi, he was an ascended master. He was here to spread love. Most
Hmm.
of his poems that people don't know were love poems. He was here to spread love, the gift of
Right.
knowledge. Right. So I mean,
Yes.
you use the things that come most natural to you. And if you haven't found those things yet, ask people around you. What am I good
Right.
at? In your eyes, what am I the best at? And it may just be how compassionate you are.
Yes.
And you lean
Oh,
into
yeah.
that, right? It could be small things. You're compassionate or you're kind or you see the world differently. Or you always see a different
Yes.
answer when someone else sees, everyone else is
Yeah.
seeing six, you see nine.
And
So,
like how Tiff, it's just encouragement, just and wisdom just flows. Have y'all heard her poems? It just flows. It's like she doesn't even have to. I don't know. It's just effortless. And another thing that you said, oh yeah, my laptop about to die. That's fine. We got a couple more minutes.
yeah.
It says 6%.
Okay. We got a couple
One
minutes.
last thing. Yes, one last thing is that like it's it's a challenge to continue to grow and learn ourselves. You know, and that's a thing. Um, however, it's different when we're trying to be like someone else, but we're not supposed to be. That's what we're not supposed to resist who our true self, our true identity is. Just if you're a goofy person, you are a goofy person. Don't try to be like that jock. Because that don't that's you're not being true to yourself. A lot of the times we trade our true selves or our true identities for the approval of others.
Right. And
When they leave our lives, what was that approval for? You know, like in the long run, a lot of people get to the end of their lives and they regret trying to be other people.
Right.
And yeah,
It's because we're all pieces of the puzzle. The thing is, one of my
we
favorite
all come from
quotes,
one.
one of my favorite
Yes.
quotes that has nothing to do with nothing and everything to do with everything is William Shakespeare. He said,
Okay.
all the world's a stage and all the men and women are players.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that is very true.
Theater quote. But if you really think about it, we are all here playing our role. If you're
Exactly.
busy trying to be what these other people are, then you're going to be missing characters and the story
Yes.
won't progress. Like you said, the earth, this is a story here. We're all
Yes, it
playing
is.
our role. And at sometimes it seems like we're not the lead. It doesn't seem like we're the main character. It doesn't seem like our role is important until it's missing.
Mm-hmm.
Until you have a puzzle that's missing one piece. Until you have a
Yes.
play and a cue comes on and the spotlight hits and you're not there.
Right.
So you have to play your role no matter
Right.
how unimportant you may seem. You'll realize, just like everything
Yeah.
on this earth, there's a reason for the bees. We don't like the stinger, but they're here to give us the
Right.
beautiful flowers that we see each day.
Right. Now, what's the reason for mosquitoes? I just need to know that. Is their purpose to spread malaria?
I
Because I know
still have no
death of children is a
clue.
spiritual advancement tool.
Maybe it's just a
Okay.
lesson to us. Matter of fact, there's a
Yeah.
story
Yeah.
that was
Spiritual advance.
told. Someone said, he was, I forgot how the story really goes, but someone was saying how he felt insignificant. He felt that he was too small to make a difference. And someone said, if you think you're too small to make a difference, spend a night in a room with a mosquito trapped in it. Think about how
Oh,
small and insignificant a mosquito may seem until you're trapped in a room with it for hours.
yeah. Yeah.
So it could even just be something so small. It could just be for the
Yes.
parable. We don't know.
Yes.
We're not,
Yes. Right.
we don't remember. I'll say we don't remember.
Right. Right.
We
Exactly.
know, we
And that's
just
the
don't
thing.
remember.
Yes. Okay, I'm on 4%. I'm literally last
We
thing that
gotta
I
go.
wanted to say. Yeah, we gotta go. It's interesting. It's really interesting. Because I actually forgot what I was going to say, to be honest with you. But that's all
It's okay.
right. All right, folks. This has been another episode of Vulnerability Time. Tiff is back, and I will have this episode up ASAP. I'll